Happy free-for-all weekend, everybody. It is the latest episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow. Colin, of course, joined here with the best group of folks to talk about the best darn trivia game on the interwebs. Boggs, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, well, good. Obviously a busy week as usual in the Schmoedown, but I got to give some congratulations in order. So there's a couple on the table here. First of all, there was a little tournament called Tournament of Nerds, I believe, hosted by Hard Running. I did watch it, and the winner of it was this man here, Mr. John Barr. So I need to give him a shout out. Of course, the Outlaw Nation done a Harry Potter exhibition match, would you say? And the winner of it is that girl over there. So Govin. So these guys are on fire at the minute. And yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my boys as well at Spin from the Real. They did like a live after party stream thing. They went really well apparently, so they killed it. So I'm just gonna give a shout
I hopped in at the end.
Oh, did you? I haven't
watched it, over 4 hours. We're in there with the great PJ Campbell talking everything about the crazy day yesterday, because you can imagine what that must have been like. And got some, some little tippies, some tips for the, to think about. John Barr, how does it feel to be the reigning nerdiest person on the internet? I think that should be the award, that you're the nerdiest person on the internet until the next time that tournament happens.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's exactly how it works. Yeah, obviously, last week I was dressed a little bit more ostentatious than normal. Got a couple comments on that. But at the end of the day, those comments just fueled me to win, baby. Oh, those comments just fueled me to win. So you guys better watch out. If I ever get myself a fan league match or something like that, I'm going to wear something so stupid. I'm going to look so dumb on this show. And you're all going to say, hey, John, you look dumb. And that's just going to make me stronger. Ooh, you're going to watch out.
Well, I'm sending you my spirit bomb-like energy, sir, the next time you compete. And over there was my competitor in the Harry Potter match that went on. And it was fantastic. Sol, how are you?
I'm having a great week because swag, drip, drip. Congratulations, Polo Oyama. Congratulations, swag. I'm happy.
Well, on what we should probably say we'll talk more about after the show, or at the end of the show.
Spoilers!
We got a couple spoilers for an event.
So, folks, let's run down the...
Can't contain myself, John. I can't contain myself.
Really?
Let's run down the docket
Just
of
like
what we're
Ron
going to get through
Weasley?
today. Yes, precisely. So we're going to run through some comments from last week's episode. We're going to run through the first 2 singles matches. And then we're going to have our wonderful guest, Little Evil himself, JTE, will be coming on to discuss his match against Ben Goddard. And then he will be joining us to discuss the entirety of the free-for-all. And then folks out there will be able to join in the conversation with JTE to be able to ask him questions. Go up here, Streamlabs, you know the deal. Streamlabs.com/TheUltimateSchmoedown Get in those comments. And get in those comments, too, over on, what do we got?
Yeah, leave a couple more of these comments, huh?
Those are
That's the best comment I've ever seen you have.
Pin it. We can pin it. That should be the pinned comment for this video until proven otherwise. And with that being said, Sol, what comments did the folks leave us on last week's video?
Okay, we have Drunken Prayer going, the only after show I watch every week because of the awesome host and community. Thank you, Drunken Prayer. We appreciate you so much. And we love when you come in and ask your very, how should I put the questions? They're very interesting. We love them here. And then we have Chris Taylor going, great conversation with Drew, and it was great to know more about Harper and Khan. And we also have Ambling Soul saying along the same lines, I'm glad I was able to catch the show live today. Great conversations with Drew. And we have Jessica, how do you say her last name, Boggs?
I believe it's Schloth.
Jessica Schloth. Yeah, going, Boggs is my new fave for both picking me, but more importantly, getting my name right. So we have someone in the fandom of Pretty Brown Boggs.
Thank you very much. The girl's got good taste. Let's just say that. So it's I can't wait to get into her match. She played great, I thought, and we'll break it down. But thanks for that.
That's a pretty fantastic segue, Boggs. How about you just go ahead? Take it away, bud. Let's get right into it. We got Jessica Schloth versus Beth May, 2 rookies making their debut. What'd you think?
Yeah, so really good actually. So I think level 2 trading's commented on how my head looks shiny, and I think it's the light. My
well, no, it
my
looks
ring
like you
light.
said your head looks shinny, so I don't necessarily know how to fix that.
Shinny Fates, I believe, is the Pokemon
I've got a
pack.
bright light, so I thought it was shiny. So, yeah, I thought, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, just going into the match then. So obviously we do have to run through these, of course. You know, we're going to get JT on in about half an hour or so. So we've got 2 matches to cover before that as well. Just to remind everyone, get your Streamlabs and Super Chats in for JT or for any of the hosts if you have any questions. But of course, JT will be coming on soon, so get them sent in. So the beginning of the match starts off with obviously Guy and Mark doing some training, really. So in effect, or him trying to train him, or learning his lessons about don't be late and things like that, and seeing the inside of Mark Ellis's house was a bit strange. And then going into the promo, we saw the kind of great promo from Beth May. You know, she's in great shape. I thought, you know, she clearly trains. You know, clearly does boxing. I'm not sure if she does it full time or used to do it, whatever, but she's clearly in good shape. Kate's obviously enjoying the nice weather, saying Frankie can't save you now about his player and stuff. So just going into the match, I will say that I did think Jess definitely looked very nervous. Beth looked a little nervous, but overall had fun. So I will throw it to John first regarding round 1. It did end. Let's get the numbers. It was 6-4 to Jessica. So your thoughts on the first round and maybe the promos and the overall kind of flow of the game at this point?
Yeah, certainly. As one of the folks who absolutely butchered Jessica Schloth's name last week, I got to apologize on that front, and then also apologize because, you know, I was like, hey, Beth May, hilarious, gets up to some fun stuff on the internet, including Dungeons and Daddies, but I kind of overlooked Jess Schloth a little bit. I was like, I probably don't necessarily need to look up this person. We'll wait to see how she does in her first match. And what she proved even in this round 1 is, hey, John, you big dumb idiot, if you host a show about the Ultimate Schmoedown, maybe you should go ahead and look up people who have been fans for quite a while, have been watching this game, and really know what they're getting themselves into. Because Jess had a really good first round. The only question she missed, Beth also missed, those being the Amelia Clark and the cliffhanger questions, whereas Beth missed both the Karate Kid and the John Cena blockers question. It was definitely, I would say, a pretty standard round, all things considered, by 2 people who are new to the game. Nothing too bad, nothing too crazy. Okay, you do know that is how you spell John. Well, you spelled it incorrectly, but you are right. I did spell it correctly, so good on you, level 2. But yeah, this was a pretty good first round, Bugs.
Yeah, so I did say, as soon as Beth missed that Karate Kid question, like, I think my heart sank a little bit, and I thought, oh, she ain't winning this. If you're missing a question like that, with Cobra Kai being the kind of in the pop culture at the minute, like, how do you not know who plays, you know, kind of Johnny and Daniel LaRusso? That was a big miss for me, and that was an indicator for how the match would go, to be honest. But yeah, going into round 2, obviously May spun first, landed on opponent's choice, first of 2 times that happened, and then Jess gave her movie release dates. She only managed to get 2 points. She only managed to get 2 points and a couple of steals as well from Jess, which was, you know, I'll give my thoughts after the match. But and then Jess going next, again spinning opponent's choice, landing on War. Beth giving her War, of course. She also got 2 points and a couple of steals as well from Beth. So I'll go to Colin. Okay, overall thoughts on round 2, how the flow of the game's going. What are your thoughts up to this point?
You're just waiting for somebody to grab the reins and bring the ship home. But right now, the ship to me at this point in the match felt like the ship that Anakin and Obi-Wan were trying to land at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. And, well, at least we landed half a ship. And that's kind of where we were at in round 2. And everyone was just kind of like, all right, can we get to round 3? And let's just have some... Because when you have 2 opponents' choice, you have nothing but 2 uncomfortable competitors. That's what opponent's choice does. It forces the competitor to answer questions that they're not probably going to be too hot on. And fortunately, they got through it. They both got through it fine. I think both of them getting steals was confidence for both of them. I just got to say, I cannot imagine, like, Boggs and I played a couple fan league matches. For these 2 ladies to come in here with the energy around this match, with the week that this week, the energy of this week in general, and to be the opening act of the free-for-all, had a lot going in. So like hats off to both of them, because I mean that was a lot for, you know, everything going in, having with Guy and all that stuff too. It was, whew. But round 3, to the moon.
To the moon. Okay. And then going into the third round, Schloth was up 11-8. I thought May looked much more relaxed, even though she was further behind. And then going into her, she initially hit her 2-pointer. Then it passed it back over to Schloth, who also hit a 2-pointer. She May missed a 3-pointer. And then Schloth also missed a 3-pointer. And then they both hit the 5s, leading to a win for Schloth, 18-15. So, Sol, what are your thoughts on the match overall, and how even round 3 as well, if you want to go into that?
So both these ladies impressed me, and you might be like, oh, how did they impress you where the score was kind of low, especially double opponents? But you have where Beth May did not do very well in round 1. She shortened the lead a little bit from 4-3 in round 2, because you have her like just not giving up. And then these two ladies in round 3, even though they both missed their 3s, like they're really impressive. And it was like Beth May kept staying in the fight. She also did what we talked about with Video Drew before, is when you know that there's a big possibility that you might lose, you make sure that your character work is good, because you want another match. And there's 2 ways to get another match. You either win or you're a phenomenal character. And Beth May is a phenomenal character. And Jess Schloth is a phenomenal player of watching this match. So you have these 2 ladies who I can't wait to see what they do in the Schmoedown.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'll push back a little bit on what you were saying, Boggs. I didn't necessarily think that Jess looked too nervous. I think it's one of those things more where it's just kind of like a bit more of a quiet, focused attitude, sort of in the same way that Adam Collins is, or similar kinds of players, where some of these folks who, you know, have watched these events, have been watching it for years, have been studying to get to this point, and now because we're all doing everything still at home into our like computers, it isn't always as easy to kind of like play up, be big energy kinds of competitors, especially when you are able to just kind of like sit down. There's no real sound going on in your house. It's just all in your ears. So I think that was more what it was. Was just like, hey, I'm here. I want to be here. Let's just buckle down and do this. And she did indeed.
Yeah. So I was just going to say as well, okay, not having a microphone plugged in, I thought was hilarious. I laughed out loud. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, it was so funny. But no, my comment on the matches. So yes, I did say that Jess was nervous at the start. I'd say very nervous. But that completely went away in the match. I thought, like, I saw a better player here in round 1, round 2, round 3 than her opponent. She scored more points in each round. I loved her composure, like how, like, even like, because including the steals as well in round 2, you don't know. I don't know as a viewer if she knows the answer. So the way she answers the question, she's, you know, very confident and calm and relaxed. She doesn't get annoyed, or she's not like frustrated with herself or anything like that. I thought she played fantastic overall. Obviously, everyone's at different levels and over that, but as your first match coming in, never played a fan league match with Force Farmers, I'm aware. I thought she showed some very good attributes. You know, again, first round doing great, hit a 5-pointer. You know, steals in round 2. I was very impressed with Jess, how she played overall. She came in she ticked a lot of boxes, I thought, in your first match. So I was pleasantly surprised by her. So yeah, the girl done good. So yeah, that was it. So that's that match. I think we can, if anyone else got anything to say, we can move on to the next match, Colin.
No, I think that match was absolutely exactly. Sol, you made excellent points when it comes to the character stuff, and then when it comes to the playing side of it as well, the calm composure of Jess as opposed to the stern and stoic character work of Beth throughout the entire performance. Just fantastic. Now, we have to move on to the next match that has some of the best trivia I have seen in a very long time. Boggs, I had to get out my scouting glasses for this match. I had to act like I was scouting the youth for basketball prospects of the future. When I looked at these 2 guys, Blunden and Bancroft, John Barr, you have the responsibility of breaking this down. These 2 guys gave you an absolute show.
Yeah, absolutely. We are still very much in the early season, so we're getting a lot of rookies coming out swinging. It's very interesting to see kind of which rookies make a name for themselves, which rookies are able to get some wins, which rookies are taking some losses, how big or small those leads are. Obviously, Finstock Exchange being a faction with a lot of rookies who are picking up a lot of wins off of their first performances, but not all of those rookies had quite as huge of a debut as both of these two. Neither of them part of the Finstock Exchange. Jacoby representing the Stars, soon to be also in the teams tournament, with Jacob Blunden representing KOrruption, one of the people in the free-for-all, which we'll get to a little bit later. But, oh boy, there are very few people, whether they're rookies or whether they're seasoned players, who can get 8 questions and turn it into 9 points quite as easily as either of these two gentlemen. Boggs, I'd bounce it up to you first. We've seen a lot of rookies so far, as I mentioned. How do these two stack up just off of this first round alone with what we've seen so far?
Good day, mate. That's my Australian.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that offensive? I don't know.
Yeah.
Mike Kalinowski was shouting "Straight by the Barbie," mate.
Yeah, that's
surely that's more
offensive. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I
In
think
terms of what's been said.
I think what's more offensive is that England sent all their criminals to Australia. And I think that's the more offensive.
Yeah, just my thoughts going in. Obviously, it's didn't know much about these personally. I haven't seen too many of their family matches, but I'm so stupid. I should have caught on to the signs. I mean, John, you said it last week when we were doing our predictions. Obviously, Jacoby is with Janine. That's like a big kind of highlighted thing that I should have picked up on, because I picked London. But Chance told us, I think one of the patrons asked Chance, who was the most fan leaguer you're looking forward to see or something like that. And he said Jacoby, even though he's playing his own faction, mate, he still told us Jacoby a month ago. I should have I don't know why I still said London. I should have picked up on the sign. But I mean, what this Jacoby, I mean, they're both great, but obviously they're both going perfect in round 1. But this Jacoby, I don't think I've ever seen a rookie going perfect like that. He went all the way up to his 2-pointer in the 3rd round, but first round, 2nd round, and the 2-pointer from a rookie, that's a serious player. So there's some, and obviously Blunden, we'll talk about him later on in the show, but yeah, there's some awesome entries, and I think the managers reflected that as well. So being very complimentary to both of them, not really talking smack on them because you can't, because they're playing great. They look like awesome players, so they're going to cause some serious damage, John.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, coming out of this round 1, it really was hard to say, oh my gosh, are we about to see the next superstars? Who's going to miss first? And ultimately, nobody really missed first necessarily, but going into round 2, we did wind up having a lead by Jacoby, 1 point, because while Jacob Blunden got a perfect round in the Oscars after spinning away from David Lynch, and hey, Oscars, that's tonight, Jacob got 7 out of a possible 8 points. Meanwhile, Jacoby, he seemed a little bit kind of curious about what would be in DreamWorks Animation, but oh man, he got a full 8 out of 8 points. Classic 90s, early 2000s kids fare here. Really helped him out. And yeah, Sol, coming out of this round 2 with that 1-point lead, it did kind of start to get to that question of these two are really good. Is that 1 point going to be the thing that decides the match, or is it going to be a full back and forth tooth and nail to the very end? What were you feeling like after that 2nd round, Sol?
When you typically watch a singles match and you're like, oh, someone missed the 1 point or they went down to multiple choice, this is not the end of the world for them. But when we watch a Star Wars match, if someone misses a point or goes down to multiple choice, we're like, oh, they are done. This felt like watching a Star Wars match. I was just like, oh no, this might be it, that he went down. And it just shows how phenomenal both of these two players are, because we're that good that you're like, you have to be at the level of the way the Star Wars players are when they're competing. You have to go perfect.
Absolutely. And both of these guys looking so polished, doing perfect or as near to perfect as one can be in Jacob's case. And then round 3 happened. And as Jacob himself said, it was less, at least from his perspective, less to do with nerves and then more to do with just getting some questions about movies he hasn't seen. Both Jacob and Jacoby hit their 2-pointers relatively easily. But then Jacob got a League of Their Own 3-pointer. I believe it was about John Lovitz's role. And then also the names of side characters in Django Unchained. Both of them just threw him for enough of a loop where unfortunately He only took Jacoby to his 2-pointer before the match was decided, 19-18 in favor of Jacoby. Again, not a bad match by any stretch of the means, not a bad performance by Jacob. I think you'd have to be a fool to really talk any kind of smack about Jacob. But it is a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, gives him a lot more to work on. Colin, what were your thoughts on this third round?
I got a lot more to say about him later when we get to the free-for-all because because this is just proof where it's like you see it here and then it's like, oh, I want to see more, and then he's like, oh, there is more to see, which is nice. On this match in particular, the questions that he missed, to no fault of his own, were questions that I've seen trip up my friend to my right over here just because of the country he lives in. Where it's like if like baseball terms or things.
I thought that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Stuff,
I forgot about
little
that. Yeah,
stuff like that. Where it's just
You're asking Australian about a baseball movie.
Baseball
I thought that
movie,
immediately.
And then the Aviator question, where that's a movie that I've seen a billion times because my dad was obsessed with showing me war movies and stuff. But like I knew which war it was. It's like that's not something that processes the same way because it might not being Australian and your history's not history classes aren't the same, just the way your brains work and stuff. It's not anything to hang your hat on, which then goes into the praises I'll be singing for him in the free-for-all. But on Jacoby's front, y'all seen him dip his head when he knows them questions?
I like it.
You see that? You see that in the first round?
Honestly,
he knows that. He knows it.
He's experienced, man.
And he boom, drops that head down. Oh, that's the scout in me. I was like, oh boy, if I'm anyone, I'm trying to trade. And I was just pulling up the draft information. 3rd round pick. Are y'all kidding me? That slip to the 3rd round? Get on out of here. Like, that is a steal. Gonna come out as a steal of the draft because he can just come in and sweep up points. I think in a tournament.
He's the ace this year.
Boy, if you want to, don't play him in a tournament right now.
Yeah.
Well, oh boy, I mean, we want to talk about tournament. He's jumping over from battling 1 corruption rookie to battling 2 basically corruption rookies coming up in this tournament. He and Janine will be going up against Deception. And I know certainly I kind of had it zipped up in my mind that probably Deception was going to go ahead and take out this new team. Now I have reason to pause. Now I don't know if it's necessarily as easy. What do y'all think? Do any of you have any particular thoughts about whether this match is still going to be kind of sewn up one way or another? Or are you also like me, kind of like that this could be a real sleeper dark horse? I don't know.
I didn't think it was sewn up in the first place because I was like, this match to me feels like it could go either way when they're playing, because you have Adam Collins, you have like all of these players that are so good. Janine the Machine, come on now. Like, you always want to root for her. So this was already before seeing Jacoby play. I was just like, ooh, who's going to win? I don't know.
If it was live. Oh my God, that'd be a whole different atmosphere, right? It'd just be a whole different room. The aura's different. Oh man, that's oh. Janine's just one of those players where you look at a match and you're like, if it's live, it's a completely different atmosphere. It just for the players on the other side because there's less that they can control, and you just let it go.
Laura Kelly talked about that too, like enjoying to play live more than anything because she likes that atmosphere. It amps her up.
Well, here on our live show, we happen to have another singles competitor who's going to be in that team's tournament that also just picked up a win this past week. Colin, I turn the introduction honors over to you.
Well, folks, I'm not going to lie. I went ham here on these introductions for this man. There is a sound in the Schmoedown when it rings. If I wasn't afraid that this video would get taken down, I would play it right now. I was banging my cup on the table as the anthem started. It was going crazy. The man, the myth, the legend himself is here. Little Evil JTE. Welcome to the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow, sir. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Dude, it's fantastic to have you here. I've been saying the last few weeks, I've been checking off my list like the NBA greats. We talked to Drew McWeeny, but now we're talking to you. We're checking off the list of the greats, and so it's just awesome to have you here, man.
Well, you
so
got John
what's it like being back?
John Roca just has to make a phone call, baby. Hey, I got a new show on my channel.
Well, we absolutely needed that other half of Rushmore here to get you guys newly minted and just re-cement you as two of the greats before you go up into this new tournament, but then also making your return to singles. Long overdue, man. Good to see you back.
Yeah, glad to be back. It was a lot of fun. I really didn't feel any ring rust, honestly. It just felt like putting on an old jacket. It just slipped right in and it was ready to play.
Dude, you just got to check off all the boxes, and I think Gucci said it best in your first meeting in the match. He was like, cool, you got the U out of the way, and now that we've got the U out of the way, we can just keep on moving, and moving you did, man. Let's get right on into round one.
My dog just opened the door.
I know.
That was
I was just like,
there he is.
I got a championship entrance right
yeah. Perfect.
entrance of the year.
there. There it is.
He has to follow me everywhere I go. So
Nerd Chronic, that's entrance of the year right here. If you need to run that back, bingo.
His name is Dalton, by the way.
Oh,
hell yeah!
So that came into my game this week.
Bingo, right into round one. I mean, dude, that's really, you just shook it right off. You go Andy Dalton. It's just a brain fart, and
here's the thing. I wrote down Dalton. I could not remember the guy's first name. And I sat there looking at my board. I was like, I know Andy Dalton's a quarterback, but I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to rate Andy Dalton for the hell of it, because it's better than that than nothing. And I'm glad I did, because everyone seems to be getting a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's 7-6, so thankfully, he doesn't go perfect, so not a huge detriment. You're only down one coming out of round one. I mean, how's it feel, man? You say you didn't feel any ring rust, but this new format, it's a bit different than being able to come out. And I was honestly expecting some some booze, like they were going to pump in some booze tracks, because that's your thing. Everybody always booed you, and nobody booed you this time.
Well, here's the thing. The people that boo me, everyone gets to the point where they're so popular that it turns, okay? Like, we were going on that winning streak, and people were loving us. And then after you win a certain amount, the wave begins to crest, and it's like, guys, want to see somebody new win. Like, I just need I want someone else to win the belt. So, to me, that's the best kind of booze you could get. The kind of... It's the boo of similarity, the boo of wanting a change, but the greatness, fighting that change, and continuing for a year plus with the championship belts. So,
Alex, I'll throw it over to you, man. Like seeing the return of Little Evil. What's it been? What was it like?
Good to have you back, sir. That's what I say. Good to have you back, man. It's just that hearing the entrance music, and it when I hear the music, it brings back all the flashbacks, from all the wins and the highlights and stuff like that. So what I want to know, JT, is where have you been? Like, how come you didn't play last year? A lot of people are wondering.
Well, people forget I was drafted. I was drafted by I was on RMB's Robert Meyer Burnett. I was on his team, and I just never got any calls. He never hit me up. And then he left, and I think Ken took over. Ken didn't know I was on his team. Like, he until I think the horror free-for-all was when he was like trying to figure out, who do I put in a horror free-for-all? So I was like, well, you have JT on your team. And Ken was like, I do? So, I recently moved out of the LA. So I think out of sight, out of mind. So it was just, and the whole digital thing wasn't a thing when I left. So I don't think people thought of me playing that last year, because this wasn't a thing. And then Corona happened, and I was like, oh, dude, they're doing digital. I can actually start playing this thing now from wherever I am. But like I said, the manager mixed up, Ken taking over, not knowing I was on his team. And I also wasn't, hitting them up like, hey, why aren't I playing? Because I was like, I moved away. I kind of, said I'm probably not going to play ever again, or maybe, maybe somewhere down the line. So yeah, just a lot of factors played into it, but I watched and I saw a lot of players who I knew win matches and lose matches. And I played along every time. And I said, I still hang, man. You
still got it. You still got it.
I watched, watching Collins come up, and I was like, this guy's good. But then I watched matches with him where he missed questions. I thought, to me, we're like, oh, I thought that was a pretty easy question. He missed it. Nobody's perfect in this game. So everyone has their subjective categories that they're better at. And, maybe there's a really bad movie that I liked growing up that a question will come up and I'll just think of it immediately like, oh, I know that. But it's because I have that personal connection to that movie. Whereas maybe Adam Collins just never saw it or saw it once and forgot all about it. So I like a lot of bad action movies. And when you're a kid and you're a movie buff, you just watch everything. And a lot of them are bad. I watched a lot of bad movies growing up that never left my mind. And like the movie Milk Money. Have you ever heard of Milk Money?
Yes, actually.
Ed Harris.
Yes.
Yeah, Melody Griffin. That is a weird ass movie. But if that ever came up, I think I would be able to answer just about anything from it. It was a movie I saw as a kid. It's really messed up. These kids basically hire Ed Harris, a hooker, to fall in love with. And Melody Griffin plays the hooker. And it's like supposed to be a PG-13 comedy, like lighthearted comedy. It's like Pretty Woman with kids. It's weird.
Oh my god!
I mean, I can only say so much because my equivalent of that movie is G-Force, and no one will have my back on that one. So,
see, for me and Soul, when it comes to we're the same age. So when it comes to us, like our shitty movies was like the dance movies. So whenever it's like You Got Served, ATL, all these movies that are like really
Stomp the Yard.
Stomp the Yard, Stomp the Yard 2, you know, just keep it coming. But
I was old enough to just roll my eyes past the theater playing it.
I got a question there, JT. Did you actually, be honest, right? Did you feel the pressure going into this match? Because obviously you were kept in that free agency period as opposed to being drafted. People thought maybe you might be potentially undeserving or, why is JT there? So that kind of thing. So you thought going into it?
I won't say I felt pressured. I didn't want to let my team down. And that's new to me because before I didn't have a faction. I mean, we had lines done for a little bit, but it was like more of a show kind of thing. Just us walking around. We're champs. It wasn't. That's the biggest difference coming into Schmoedown now is having a faction, a team that you work with on days off. You're basically studying. You can touch a woman that drives her crazy, her heart, Milk Money. Yep. That's it's wow. I saw that as a kid too, man. Oof. So yeah, for me, it's like the whole faction part of it was more, I didn't want to let my team down. We're the veterans, me, Roka, and Craig, and we don't want to. We're telling all of them, what to do, what we're expecting of them. The last thing you want to do is go out and just lay an egg. It's going to happen once in a while. There's anytime you play a match in this league, there's always potential for you to lose, no matter who you're playing. You could have a bad day. The wrong or right questions could be asked. So for me, it was more, I just want to go back, tell my faction, got a W, TKO, whatever it is, and just be like, yes. And so that was the biggest thing. More of a don't want to disappoint my faction than it was pressure. No, listen, I've done live shows. I've been to Spectacular several times. This and the comfort of my home, it's easy. Honestly, easy the digital is much easier for me. You could literally take a bath an hour before or do whatever you want to do. Play some video games, walk my dog. Like I could eat lunch right before the match and just relax. Back in the old days, we'd go to Collider Studios. That as soon as you walked into the studio, the energy of there was usually matches before you. I would sit there and watch the match and be like, oh man, why couldn't I get these questions? Like I hope these questions are kind of like that. You see people lose, you see people angry when they lost. That to me felt more pressure than the digital era where it's like just turn on your Zoom call and let's get ready to do a match. It's much easier in my opinion.
Well, I think you did. I mean, you handled it absolutely fantastic. Just to roll right into round 2 because there isn't much to say. You both absolutely crushed it. I mean, to me, you have this vibe of exactly what Roka needed in a teammate, which is like you verbally exude confidence. And that's not a slight to Dan Murrell, but he is more of, he shows you what he can do. He doesn't necessarily tell you what he's going to do. He's been telling us more lately what he's going to do, but hasn't been his game in the past. Your game is, no, I'm going to tell you what I know, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to know it too. And you did with that martial arts, because I saw you try to kind of maybe sort of play like, oh, do I need to take? No, you're going to take this. You knew the second you hit it, you were going to take it. And that's what this faction needs. And it's awesome.
This faction is all about winning attitude. We always say, even when we lose, we win. We're not going to sit here and sulk and put our head down and get frustrated. We know we have a great talent. We know we could hang with the best of them. So our motto is a little bit, you win. Even if you lose, you win because you're with this faction. And we try to, especially the veterans, we try to, generate that kind of attitude so it trickles down to all our rookies. Go in with confidence and just know you're going to win before you win.
And you can see that with the rookies too, is that you guys are exuding that confidence, and then they have played phenomenal and really made shut everyone up going, what is Finstock doing with these getting all these rookies? And you guys are putting that confidence, be like, hey, you're winning, you're winners, just go out, show what you know. And then you're seeing that with this faction, and so it really, you could tell that it's coming from the top down, and you guys are all playing phenomenal.
I mean, yeah, you're not going to see, I feel confident saying like any match that we put one of our players in, it's going to be a close match. You're not going to see any, some of these rookies have gotten destroyed. And it's like, you can see them, they just have, and it's not even that they had a bad game. Some of them just don't have, I think, the skills, or they could, but they're not there yet. I feel like with all our players, we're right there at the edge of being great. I think our first match was Brother Loomis, which he lost. And again, I totally understand. You're a rookie. It's your first time. I think he's going to get better with every single match he has afterwards. But overall, I just feel like we have a faction that can compete on just about every level. And I think we're going to be, by the end of the year, man, we're going to have the best stars of the new league, I think. I think this is like the second generation of the Schmoedown. And this draft will go down history as like the beginning of the next big stars.
Well, and to talk about the drafting aspect of it, you guys went out and got different types of players, right? Like if we're like, it's draft week, right? JTE, how hyped are you for draft week this week? Like everything's awesome.
QB, no QB, I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's awesome, but like you gotta but you guys took that you took that mindset into it. You look at all these different types of players that you draft. I mean, like for Rick Radis to come out and perform like that, to carry the question answering ability and the character talent, is just, like you're saying, that's next generation. That's what we've seen for years. We've usually seen somebody have a bit of A and a bit of B, but now you're having A and B at the same time, and that's how they're starting. That's terrifying. Like you're creating monsters over there.
Well, when we looked at the dossier, we didn't, I think a lot of people look at the strengths, but we also looked at the weaknesses of some of these players and said, well, right, if that's a weakness, it could be easily built upon or repaired and made a strength. So like, even when some of the players that we looked at, we said, all right, he's not great at this or this, we felt confident we could coach him up on it and through study sessions make him an even stronger player. We took everybody who I thought were like, I think we're just on the verge, or if not already there, being a great player.
Yeah, and John Barr, I'm going to throw this over to you, buddy, because we've been talking a lot about this man beneath me, JTE, but we got to give some props to Ben Goddard's performance through 2 rounds, because the way he handled himself in round 1, especially after all the things he went through last year in terms of the ups and downs of that season, he is not something that we need to forget about.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. When I was going into this round, I was not afraid for JTE at all as far as ring rust goes. I mean, if you look at some of the great performances he's turned in, even with like gaps of time in between each match, like the dude has proven he's good. I mean, if you remember, like he took that W with the Evil Geniuses in that teams tournament, had to step aside for a little bit, then came back to beat John Harris pretty handily. And then I think you had 1 loss against Lichtenstein and Miller, but then you came back at the next free-for-all and were one of the top 3 finishers of all time. Like, I was not worried about JTE at all in this match. I was much more curious to see how Ben Goddard did, and I was super impressed by his performance, only missing that round 1 question, and then going into round 2, getting a perfect in Wizarding World. Soul, Colin, I know you two know a little bit about that. I know that sometimes they have brooms. I guess it's the Last Jedi sort of thing. But yeah, like this was really the kind of match that I wanted to see, where it's just people going back and forth. And it was really up, like we were talking about before. Like we loved being able to go all the way to the 5-pointer with that Red Sparrow question. I mean, that's one of those movies where it's like, it's a tough one, because on the one hand, it's like, yeah, that's recent enough. It's like probably one of like the top things you study. But at the same time, Red Sparrow was not a memorable movie. So it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, I guess that kind of like falls into a blind spot. But I'm mostly just glad like that we got to that point, especially after JTE's, I'm just going to shout this out, specifically the incredible 5-pointer. Like with that pull was one of my favorite moments of this match, man.
Yeah, I knew it. I actually knew it immediately. But John Roca did something playing against John Roca that he used to do. And I'm watching his matches. You sit there and you're like, he knows this. He's just messing with him. So I knew it right away, but I was like, you know what? a little nod to my, future teammate here. I'm going to just use all my JT me's. I want to say that also. So
Yes.
I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and let him sweat it out a little bit because he is, a lot of ways still kind of a rookie sophomore. He has been in the league as long as he plays many matches. So I was like, I'm just going to let him sweat it out. Hopefully maybe rattle him a little bit. But I knew immediately it was Jim Kelly. I just wanted to let him sweat it out.
Did you know his 5-pointer, JT?
I know. The first thing that came to my mind was what he said, Tinker Tailor Spine. I was like, it can't be that because I know the year
because you
was
slapped
wrong.
your arm.
Yeah, because
like,
when they asked it, you were like, you seemed frustrated.
Yeah, because the year was wrong. But I slapped myself because I heard 2018 first. What 2018 film? And I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to give me a movie from the 70s? Like three movies from the 70s? This guy's going to get a movie from the past 3 years? So I immediately thought, I was like, oh, she's going to know this right away because it's such a recent film. And when he started struggling, I was like, oh, maybe he won't get it. And then I stopped trying to figure out what it was at that point because I immediately at first was like, maybe it's Tinker. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, what could it be? But then he started saying JTE, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe he doesn't know. So I was like, I'm just going to ride this out. I'm just going to ride this out and see if he can figure it out. And when he said Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, I'm like 95% sure that's not the answer. But you never know. Maybe my year was wrong. So I just sat back like, I'm not going to celebrate until I hear JTE. So it was pretty nice.
And seeing, sorry, Connie, seeing Gucci's reaction, the passion, like what? You don't see it from that guy. Normally he's cool and collected and smart to a banana. That was out the window, fist pumping. Happy for you, happy for his faction. That must be fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, we've just been friends for so long. We've hung out for years. I think he was he got a lot of crap for drafting me, and I think he was like this is bullcrap. You're a great player, so I think he was just happy to shut some people up and for me to get an RW.
Awesome.
Matt, it was absolutely fantastic to see you back. And it wasn't the last time we saw you because let's just roll right into it. Because this was, for this weekend, we just got to take a moment to realize the amount of content we were blessed with as a human society this weekend. It was like, hey, it was all over the place. You want Mortal Kombat? We got that. You want Falcon and Winter Soldier finale? We got that. You want Schmoedown Free For All? We got that. And that's
we also have new episodes of The Circle season 2, the biggest one of all.
I would add Invincible in there.
And Invincible as well. And my girlfriend's over there watching the season finale of RuPaul's Drag Race. So literally, it's all coming to a head.
Falcon Winter Soldier had its finale. Yeah,
incredible. Like it's awesome. And then everybody yesterday in the Schmoedown world got to sit down and enjoy just a 3.5 hour chunk of trivia. That if you love the Schmoedown, this is your day. This is Christmas Day. So first, we're going to break this down. 6 nice little conversations. First one, our overall thoughts. I'm going to throw it to JTE. You've done this live, and I've watched it live every time. I've never been to a live event. I'll be at the next one, definitely. The first one I will be at. How did this atmosphere of... was the stress the same? Because the stakes, in a sense, are even higher now, but the stress, I could tell on your face, it was much lower.
I mean, again, I do think this digital age just it's bringing it right into your home of comfort. So to me, it's more just like, can't miss my Zoom call. All right, I'm coming in. I'm not worried. To me, the stress of the game hasn't really changed. It's just like when it's on here, it's like, okay, I'm going to jump on here, my whiteboard. I'm looking at my competition, hoping I get some good questions. I got 2 movies in my second, so I made it 2 rounds. In the second round, I got 2 movies I had not seen, which were Paper Towns and Enchanted. Never seen Enchanted, never caught it. I knew Amy Adams was the star. I knew Michael Madsen. Is it Michael Madsen or Michael Marsden? James Madsen. James Marsden. I was way off. I knew I remembered Cyclops was the prince.
There you go. That's the right place to start. Cyclops and then go to there.
So I was like, okay, I was hoping they would ask like who plays the prince or who's the lead. I honestly just did not remember that Susan Sarandon was even in that movie because I'd never seen it. The only thing I could pull from my memory was like, remember when the trailer came out? She's like in New York. She's in the real world. So I was like, damn, I should have seen Enchanted. But I just never saw it. Paper Towns is a movie that didn't get good reviews. And this is also frustrating. I wrote Cara D because I knew her name was Kara. I knew her last name started with D. I knew she was in Suicide Squad. She was in Luc Besson's, Valerian, 1,000 Worlds, whatever it's called. So I knew the actress, the girl with the eyebrows, and I just couldn't picture her last name.
I think that's the exact same answer that both Beth May and Jessica Schloth put when they had that Amelia Clark question too. It's just eyebrows.
Eyebrows. I've seen her in a few films. I know her, but I could not remember her last name. I remember it started with a D, but like, what was I gonna write? So those are two
eyebrows.
Yeah, the eyebrows.
Listen, I should be so lucky that I get remembered as eyebrows. That is, if I get remembered as eyebrows instead of bald guy with the big ears, I'll count that as a win.
Take
That'll
Anthony
be a great
Davis
legacy.
and Amelia Clark. It's those two, and now Cara D.
So it was tough to get those. Almost every other round, I at least had seen the movie or I knew a little bit. It was just bad luck from when I entered, really. I play along, so I'm watching this. I'm like, shit. I was like, if I would have came in 2 rounds later, I think I could have hung for. I don't know. I don't think I would have won it. I don't know if I could have made it that long.
Alex Marzonia was playing along, and he so perfectly, and I know he is so a perfectionist just with his music and the way he is. He had it perfectly written out every round, how many questions he got right, and if he would have survived. And it was so cool. Like, for every single round, he had it written down. And I was like, oh, that kid took good notes in college. It was
ridiculous. I saw that tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, and he did really well. But that was like...
But it's so much easier when you're just watching.
Exactly. Yeah. And for all he knows, he gets dropped in the one round that he gets in and doesn't survive, right? But that's how this... Exactly how it goes.
I think you get 15 seconds to answer. They go by quick. When you are sitting there in a chair... You use 5 seconds to think of it, and then you're like, if you're not right, and you start freaking out. You're like, I should be writing something. What am I supposed to write? I don't know. So it's really, if you don't know right away, you can still pull it, but every second goes by that you can't remember it, it gets harder and harder.
Boggs, this is our first free-for-all, right? Or Soul, all of us. This is our first real free-for-all together. I mean, we had the horror one last year, but this is the first one for us as a show. So, I mean, Soul,
first one since I've been here.
Yeah, Soul, I'll throw it over to you. What were your thoughts on the free-for-all?
I loved it, and just going back to what JTE was saying too, like some questions where like they would normally give you 20 seconds in a Schmoedown match, you were trying to answer it in 15, so you were having to count like how many times this actor has been in this franchise, stuff like that, and like so I was like, oh, this is even tougher in the free for all, but I loved it because I am swag drip drip, and my boy Polo Oyama, he won. Goes, and just to see Winston at the end goes, I'm gonna go get my passport. You don't need a passport to go to Hawaii. I'm gonna go get my vaccination card.
They're perfect.
You're a swag fan? Are you a swag fan?
Yes, I am.
You're on a Roka channel. Interesting.
See, we don't
don't discriminate. Yeah. Wait, everybody give me their team. I want to know who I'm dealing with here. Who's their team?
See, Boggs and I are weird because I go back as far as you've been in the game. Like I've watched it, so like for me, the teams thing is kind of like you got to kind of earn it for me on the teams. Where it's like you got to show me like what team because it switched around from last year, right? Because like I still follow the players. I know Boggs still follows his guys. Like we love Chance. Like I think Chance is just a stellar player, but that's how we look at the game. It's not like what they're doing out of it.
And I'm Team Warfather, so I'm just kind of sitting this whole season out.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people were surprised.
I'm Team John Roca as well. John Roca as well.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, we all are technically.
Technically, of course. I would hope so.
I mean, I gotta root for the major Latino in the Schmoedown. Come on.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Honestly, last week when we were picking, I almost was just like, I need to go root for my fellow Latino, the Ecuadorian, and my sister-in-law is Ecuadorian. I need to go with the Ecuadorian JTE.
I got Ecuador tattooed on my arm.
Proof.
Well, Boggs, Boggs. How was it, man? Because I know so I need to know because I need to know like you discuss your viewing habits of the game. When and how did you watch this? Because this dropped like 8 o'clock your time.
PM.
Where are you in London or something?
In Nottingham, in England. That's right.
Okay, go.
Yeah, so it came on 8 PM my time. So Saturday night. So I was getting calls. People going out because now with this as of last week, we kind of came out of lockdown. So bars are open, restaurants, people having parties. Oh, wow. My phone was ringing. I was like, no, guys, I have to stay in. They're like, why? I'm like, I can't tell you. Really, I'm watching the free-for-all.
Guys, don't you hate it when you're just too popular?
I'm watching the free-for-all on a Saturday night. Yeah, can you believe it? Yeah, I kind of watched it live. I was about an hour behind, so I didn't watch it live. It was like 9 p.m. Gotcha. I started to watch it. So, yeah, it was really good. Very entertaining. Obviously, some big moments. We'll get into that later. But yeah, no, definitely enjoyed it. Yeah, it was super fun. I'm glad we had it because, you know, last year it was definitely not the same. Without the horror one was okay, but we're missing the variety of players that we didn't get to see. So yeah, super fun.
So I'll throw this over to John, a little two-parter, your overall thoughts, and then, sir, your most surprising performance. Who really came out and showed you something that you weren't expecting?
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, just like Boggs, I was too busy getting drunk and kissing ladies when this actually came out to watch it live. I was just a big party boy. That's what I'm known for. There were quite a couple surprising performances for me. But two of which came from the Finstock Exchange. We want to talk about these rookies. We absolutely got to talk about Griffey Nooms, who I cosplayed as last week, going 5 rounds, getting approximately, my math might be off here, but around 24 points. Lasted quite a while. Really impressive. But we also absolutely have to talk about Kimberly Taylor Foster. She lasted into 3 rounds total, getting herself 10 points. Several times she was the only person getting the questions right when she was getting them asked. This was, to me, one of the most impressive kind of rookie performances. But just like we had to talk about the Finstock Exchange, we also got to talk about KOrruption. We got to talk about KOrruption because with both Jacob Blunden, another rookie that has been getting a lot of love for his performance, but also Mark Edward Hoyk. Both of them lasted into 4 rounds total. Mark Edward Hoyk, again, putting on a great free-for-all performance, even though they did spell his name wrong again, which at this point I have to assume is just a bit. I have to assume he's texting the editors nah, dude, it'll be so funny. But then, of course, Jacob Blunden with the big moment of clearing the table of Liz Shannon Miller, Griffey Nooms, aforementioned, Jacoby Bancroft, who had previously beaten him, and what seemed to be the #1 odds-on favorite for MVP, William the Beast Bibiani. I mean, wow, that was nuts.
I mean, that was negative 1,000 if you're betting. It's like bibs. It's let's just take bibs, and I'll make my money back. It's fine. It'll all be good. It'll be just a good day. But no, that's where, from earlier, I was going to say, this guy, Jacob Blunden, he's got a brain that you don't want to mess with, and I cannot wait to see more of him. He's up there now of my most anticipated players to see in a match, because like my point before of you just get asked questions that internationally, that's just a gap that you can't help, just in whatever it may be. He was on his game, and that was absolutely insane. JTE, you're watching this in the background. I mean, the first 10, I mean, come on. Who put Dan Merle's name so early that this table was stacked? What's it like watching that?
Yeah, Blunden did play really well. I wasn't that impressed with his clear out only because release dates is an overall weakness, I think, for most players in the Schmoedown. At that point, it was picking straws, and whoever got the shortest, he just happened to get the shortest straw and stay on the team. Because everyone, I mean, unless it's a really big film that was a landmark like The Matrix in 1999, you get a film like that and you're like, holy shit, what movie, what year? You're always going to be 1 or 2 off. Someone easily could have guessed the same year as him. I think they all were just even he said in the after show, I didn't know exactly what year it was, but I made a guess at what year round it was. So to me, release dates, they all took a shot in the dark. He got the lotto ticket. He won, cleared the table. I love him for it because it cleared the table for me and some other people. So I was happy for him for that. But he's a strong player. I watched his match. League of Their Own is a classic, so I was a little surprised that he had never seen it. I know he's not from America, so maybe that the baseball thing.
I think that was kind of the wording because they asked specifically, when was it? He's a scout or he's a
John.
You get.
John Lovitz is just so quotable in that movie. True. So, I mean, but I've seen that movie 100 times. So, to me, it was as simple as they come. But again, somebody who maybe doesn't like baseball movies, that's going to be a hard pull.
I'm from the UK, JT. I ain't seen it.
There you go.
Baseball's not a thing, is it? Here?
And I love that movie because baseball's my favorite sport. So
there you go. Exactly. So I think the international angle might have hurt him a little bit there.
I think that's something. Hey, managers, I'm not saying like I just dropped a little nugget of gold, but like you have to think about that kind of stuff. There are gaps that's a gap that you have to scout for and look for in players where it's like, I mean, Boggs might be more attuned to like, well, I think we were having some great discussion in the comments earlier about some great martial arts films that might not make it into the Schmoedown because there was no U.S. theatrical release, right? But like, JTE, your brain of martial arts might be so vast, but you don't know like the list of martial arts films that I think
you said that, right? You said that in the match.
Yeah, I said in the match afterwards, like, I didn't know what, how far outside the U.S. were they going?
Right.
I mean, I've watched a lot of Kung Fu flicks that probably never made it to America, and I had to order off like eBay just to get a DVD of it sent to my house. So I could be like, how's this Jet Li movie never come out in the US? So, but because of that, and I am a big martial arts fan, I felt pretty confident, like especially when it comes to the Van Damme, Seagulls, some of the 90s cheesy martial art movies. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm good on Van Damme. I'm good on Chuck Norris. So I felt pretty comfortable about that. But they still gave me some international. Stephen Chow directed Kung Fu Hustle, which did get an American release.
Oh, and he also good.
So great. And Shaolin Soccer also got a American release, I believe. Yep. So I was like, okay, soon Stephen Chow came up, I was like, great, Stephen Chow.
Well, Soul, who was your most surprising performance? I mean, I know outside of swag. I'm going to put you, or JT, yours too.
Let me just say Kim Taylor-Foster, my teammate.
Yes. Also
from London. I've known Kim for a few years. She used to work for Fandom, and she worked with us at Screen Junkies back in the day. Boom.
How about that?
She was an old coworker of mine. I've only met her a few times because she would fly out to LA for certain things and spend some time at Screen Junkies, and she had been on the show a couple times. So like I knew that she was strong with trivia, but even she impressed me. I was like, damn, Kim, go hard on this. Like, and I knew she was going to do good in the free for all because when we did study sessions, I was like, damn, Kim. All right. I was like, I didn't know you were this good. Yeah. So we were so impressed with her behind the scenes that we were so excited to have her in the free for all. Like, as soon as we were able to like put some people in, we were like, oh, she hasn't had a match yet. Time for people to know what she's working with because she's so impressive.
Oh, yeah. I think she made it within, again, like my math might be off here a little bit, but I think she was like, as far as people and the number of rounds that they lasted, I think she was in the top like 15 of those kinds of people because she made it through to a third round, which was really just like especially impressive. Again, because obviously with some of the rookies, it's like, oh, it's rookies on rookies. You don't always know what you're getting. But Kim Taylor-Foster, she had to go up against a bunch of rookies and then also a bunch of veteran players. So to me, like this was one of the like, this, to me, has been one of the standout rookie performances by a Finstock Exchange member. Made me very excited.
And my litmus test for this game is always my wonderful girlfriend, Guyane, who Soul is more friends with than she is with me. And she was looking at Kim last night and was like, I love her. Like, the whole time, she's like, I love her. Like, we need more of her. And I'm like, okay, that's a star. If I'm going to go buy some stock, I'm going to go buy some Kim stock because Guyane knows it. Like, she knows when somebody's going to be big. So, Soul, I'll throw it over to you. What were your thoughts on Kim and then your overall most surprising performance?
So, I actually wasn't going to pick a swag member, but now that you said swag, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say like Kimberly Taylor-Foster and Jacob Blunden. Like I was just completely impressed with both of them. They were probably the most standout of like I didn't really know what to expect of them because I haven't really like we saw Jacob Blunden play, but like I like just the day before. So like you kind of like, oh, I don't know how long he's gonna last. I don't know if he's gonna get into a round where he might have a movie that he doesn't know because of in the same way that like he lost in the match. So those two, and then just now because you did say it, I'm gonna pick a swag person as well. So I wasn't gonna be this is your fault, Colin. Jen Kemp did really well.
Sure, yeah.
She was killing it. I was rooting for her to win the whole thing at the end there. I was like, come on, Jen.
Can you imagine being in Vegas, JTE, if there was a sports book for the Schmoedown? Live betting halfway through, Jen Kemp odds are like plus 35,000. I would put $1 down.
Yeah, I'd throw some money down there for sure.
I'll put $5 down.
Look, clearly it's all about the bird onesie. So I would say if any other Schmoedown competitors are watching, I've got that penguin onesie right there. And I'll let you borrow it to wear for
Was
the
that
free
the
for all.
waddle duck, John Barr?
I don't know what words you just said to me, so no.
The waddle, the grape.
Oh, the waddle duck.
You're You're hip. Well, guys, I mean,
love you, buddy.
I know this free for all 4 has just been absolutely crazy because it was the level of talent has matched the character, and they keep pushing each other, and this pushed it more and more because we saw a vast variety of folks on the screen at the same time. Like mentioning that Hoik was on there for just killing it, absolutely killing it, and he looked like he was in the woodshed. I don't know where he was. He had some tools behind him. Kind of looked like he was, but at least probably better Wi-Fi connection than the horror free for all where he was in the cafe.
Yeah, the cafe.
That's one of the best performances in the Schmoedown I've ever seen. That was just great because I can only imagine the people around him. This guy's putting a board up to the screen.
He was there for a long time.
He was there for a really long time.
I got to be honest. As someone working at a restaurant right now during the global pandemic, I would have loved for him to be there because we only have 4 tables, and so if you put that guy at one of the tables, people are going to be significantly less likely to try and sit around at the tables and eat their friggin' acai bowls while that's happening. So that means a lot less cleanup for me. So on behalf of all food service workers, Mark Edward Hoik, we salute you.
Leo, yeah, that's a great shout, Leo. Some snubs of players who didn't make it in this year for whatever reasons. Chance, Lon Harris, Drew McWeeny. Yeah.
Well, Lon specified on his Twitter it's because he's hosting the Oscars tonight, so he needed a time to rehearse.
That's fair. Chance had to drive up from Arizona, I guess, to help him out with that. Next up, topic number 3, we got our most disappointing performance. Boggs, I'm going to throw this over to you, bud. Who dropped the ball for you?
Well, I didn't get to comment on my best performance, but I got to say Bateman, like the way he's playing at the minute. I mean, the guy's like, he's the one player I wouldn't want to go up against one-on-one. Like he's almost a complete player of how good he is. Like of so many different kind of wheel slices and genres. Like the guy just knows his stuff. And secondly, like Kim Taylor Foster, there was one question in particular about the $1 Million Baby question. Like, how did she know the characters' names from $1 Million Baby? Like when Oyama and Bateman didn't know. I just thought that was such an impressive pull. That one in particular, I was like, whoa, that is some serious knowledge. But most disappointing, to be honest, I've been thinking about, I don't really have one. I've got to be honest. So there's a few rookies that got kind of, low number of points. They're rookies. It's going to happen. But I was more disappointed with what Leo Logan said there. The people that I didn't get to see, like a Chance, like a Lon, like a Drew, even a couple of random people I would have liked to see, maybe like Chandru, or just, I don't know, maybe a few stars like Adam Witt, someone like that. That's what I was more disappointed with. Maybe even like a Rick Radis I would have liked to see and that kind of thing. So that was the more disappointing.
He was on the
picture.
marquee.
Yeah. The thumbnail,
I was waiting the whole time. I was like, my boy's on the marquee. Where's he at? I'm waiting for him to come in.
Yeah, so there was no actual person I was disappointed with, to be honest. So I'm a bit of a cop answer, but yeah, it was the people that didn't play.
No. I mean, John, nobody really like disappointed. I think most of the things were players were in moments, great players were in moments where they got swept off the board. Like we had it was Champ's lunch for lack of a better word, the first hour of the whole free for all. It felt like we had champs on champs on champs. You had Collins and Merle on there at the same time. I mean, I don't know if anyone really disappointed. It was just they all kind of got unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does kind of like what we were talking about with JTE. Just again, that kind of like pole position. Where are you at? Where are the questions? Like, what's the order? And just kind of like what kinds of caliber of things do people get asked? Like, sometimes it just kind of shakes out that way. Yeah, where it's like you get great players like Dan Merle and Mark Andreyko who are in a round with 5 really tough questions and they happen to get swept under with a bunch of other people. So obviously the only answer for most disappointing is the flirt and flouse. That's obviously because that's just like
took someone out,
of course.
He took Alex Damon out. He took Alex Damon out. It was funniest moment for me one of the funniest moments of my life. Oh, Alex, I know the answer. Like he was so good. When he comes in with it and he's on his game, he can stay all night. Like I think
expect a brand new Inner Geekdom #1 contenders match versus Alex Damon and Flirt and Flouse, and then they get to play Kalinowski.
Yes.
Exactly. Soul, I'll throw it over to you. I mean, we're disappointing. It's such a harsh word, but like,
it's such a harsh word.
Who let you down?
I would say that honestly, I wasn't let down or disappointed by anyone. There's a few people that I wish that I could see go forward. I'm a big Eric Zipper fan, so I wanted to see him go at least another round. And just I know how hard John Roca is studying, that I wanted to see him go really far. And that was just like, oh man, okay, well, next match.
Yeah. I mean, JTE, this is kind of it's a weird spot for the free-for-all when you have so much talent at the table. So how is it like as a competitor? Maybe put us in the live perspective, because you've spoken enough on what it's like to sit in your room and answer trivia. When you're sitting at a live event and you look over to your left and it's Dan Murrell, Bibiani, and all these other guys around you, like, how do you just focus on the whole thing? Because it just seems impossible.
Yeah, I think you don't worry about them. I think you just worry about your board and your answer. It's, again, in a lot of ways you're playing yourself. Yes, obviously it's going to be harder if I'm next to Dan and Bibiani, like I was for the last free-for-all. But it just makes you up your game a little bit too. You're like, okay, you can't miss a question. So you got to think really hard before you write your answer, double check your answer before you write it down, and just, again, you kind of just go into your own little bubble and just, to me and the board in my brain, and all three of us got to work together to try to get this answer. And whoever does that the most wins.
And with that, we got to talk about it, because Boggs.
I'll say this though.
Yeah.
I'm most disappointed in free for all. Obviously, it was myself. If you told me I was going to last two rounds, I would have been like, hell no. But luck of the draw. I think I just got brought in at the wrong time.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what makes the free-for-all such an enjoyable event, because you can look at, well, what if the order is completely flipped, right? And then you have Dan Murrell and these stock competitors coming in for the last 10 competitors, as opposed to the first. It's just like, it is all centered around how you do with where you land.
When you get that email, what your placement is, you're always like, come on, 20s, 30s. If you get me in the high 30s, baby. So when I saw 15, I was like, it's going to be a long day.
I think
it's going to be a tough day.
I think it was last year that it was like you were the last competitor, maybe, or one of the last, and then Dan Murrell was, I think, in like late 20s, early 30s, and that's part of how he lined up in that order.
I might have been 35.
Yep.
Yeah.
At a 40, right. 41, and I made it to sudden death with Bibbs and Dan.
That's the lasting shot of you, man. Like, the lasting shot of you of a live event, like, coming out is you coming down the entryway, and
I love that promo.
Brand, that's one of my favorites. That's
so
iconic. Like, it's great.
That was a lot of fun, and I do miss, like, I can't wait till they can do live events again and feel that energy. But like, some people, I think, they feel nervous playing in front of all those people. I don't know. For me, I get up on there and I just kind of
game on.
It's game on. I just kind of tune them out. Just me and whoever's up there, and Mark and Christian, and it's fun. I love it.
Speaking of that, who raised the game was the MVP. Boggs, you kind of talked about it earlier. It was the boss. He stepped up, man, and he's got this big board. We got to talk about this. Janine with the comment of the night, Soul.
Yeah.
Come on now. Like,
it was like a calendar. It was like a wall piece.
It goes bigger than your pants. And
look at this. That's all you need, man.
Boggs, give your boys some praise, because I know we've been on both spectrums of our love for the boss, and it goes both ways. It's a love-hate relationship, but today he showed you why you bought stock in him initially.
I think I forgot how many points they said he got. John, maybe you could fill us in.
Yeah, again, my numbers have some room for error, but I believe he got approximately 57 points.
I mean, what are we talking about here? The guy is playing so stellar at the minute, so anyone that goes up against him, I mean, you got to... And, he's teaming up with Dan Moore in teams. It's like, oh, man, it is... I know hopefully you guys kind of meet in the teams tournament, JT, but yeah, it is scary how good he's playing him. Right?
I never played him. I played him in teams once. We beat Action's ass. But
no. You didn't just beat their ass.
Yeah.
you showed them how it was done that day. Like
It's
that
true.
was like, but you kind of put that chip on their shoulder in a way.
Yeah. Well, Andrew Guy was not me and Jeff were very good players. I don't think Andrew Guy's strength is in trivia as much as it is. I think he's where he needs to be right now. You know, doing commentary. I think he's really good on the mic, but I don't think he was really up to the level of Ben Bateman's talents back then. And it's hard to carry a team sometimes when, you know, someone's not up to your quality of play. I'll say this, Ben Bateman, when I first met him, was not as good as a player as he is now. And I said this on the backstage. I think he's one of the people who kind of ushered in this. I might not be good now, but I'm going to study my ass off for the next year or two. And all that studying has paid off because now he's obviously one of the best players in the league. You couldn't help but watch that free-for-all and think, man, this guy deserves to win the thing. Yeah. You know, it was between him and Oyama, and I didn't really want either of them to win. But if you asked me in the moment, I would I guess Ben deserves it. He's been there the longest.
Yeah, I thought so too. And obviously, I want to give a shout out to Biz. I do kind of agree with what you're saying there, GT, with Jacob Blunden. Like, that moment was great. Obviously, you know, especially being a rookie doing that. But personally, I was more impressed with the way Bibbs flipped up. And Draco, Morrow, who was it, Collins, and Irwin, all current champs or former champs. What did
Dan say, right? Like, Dan said, "This is your career moment." He said it.
Was one of them, yeah.
And I'll tell you this: I had just rewatched Bumblebee maybe a month ago, like because I got a new 4K projector and I have the 4K.
Ooh, nice.
I got a 4K of Bumblebee, and I watched it like a month ago, and I was like, yeah, there's that moment where she jumps off the cliff when she's being teased by all the popular kids, and I was like, oh yeah, she was in diving. Her dad used to watch her, so it's in the movie. Like they really do point it out that she was a diving, swimming person. So maybe just because I saw it recently, I thought everyone was gonna get it. And as one by one went by, I said, oh no, they're not getting it. Oh no. And then bam, clear table.
I think, weren't you the next one in? Or
I was like, yeah. Right? And I told Bibbs, I was like, I'm buying all your soap because
yeah.
Well, it was like the Kool-Aid Man in Family Guy. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh yeah! Like right at the end, it was nice. I
was so happy when he cleared those people. I was like, "Get me in there, baby! I got a shot."
John Barr, I'm gonna throw this over to you, bud. Your thoughts on the boss and like, I mean, he laid it down. I don't know if he brought the suit, the briefcase with him, but it surely seemed like he was there to do business.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this was a really impressive performance going through into 14 rounds total with 2 sudden deaths that he had to face down to get that number of points. Absolutely absurd. Again, being sort of in the later, but like not too clearly late. That's right. Exactly what he did, Drunken Prayer. I know, obviously, looking back at the comments on this, and then again, it kind of gets talked about a little bit in the post-event. There's a little bit of shenanigans going on with the Muppets from Space, Muppets in Space question. They kind of talked about how they found it to be a little bit kind of in the realm of like acceptability as far as like common errors with live events, which, I mean, you know, as someone not a part of the Schmoedown and their events that they put on, I'm willing to give them that benefit of the doubt. I feel like, especially because if I'm not mistaken, Muppets in Space is the name of the bit from the show, whereas Muppets from Space is the correct name of the movie. And obviously, I think like if it was a live event, we've talked about again how like, you know, some of the fans like to boo, like to jeer at things like that when they're there in person. So I'm sure if that had happened at a live event, probably some enterprising young people in the audience would have been like, no, and then maybe we would have seen it go differently. But again, for a digital event, like I'm personally at like, I get it. But I don't know, JT, how you feel.
I think if she got that right, she would have cleared the table. The next question, and I think Ben and Oyama would have been gone.
I think so.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Jen, I'd be mad.
I'd be really mad if I was Jen. I would. I don't know what I would have done. I would have lost my mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's part of the thing to keep in
no
context.
Challenges, unfortunately.
I think that's partially because it was Winston who was like, hey, it doesn't matter to me. It's either going to be Jen winning or Paul winning. And that's part of, again, why I'm kind of over it. Because if Jen had won on that question, then it's like it still would have been a swag person winning. And Ben Bateman still probably would be the MVP because he still made it all the way to that final 3. Or I guess it would have been final 5 in that. I forget exactly.
Then Oyama should just go ahead and give her the shot.
Right? Maybe that's the number 1 contenders match is those two to play
There you go. There you go.
He used to say thank you every single time because it just seemed like in that moment, we're 3 hours plus deep into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was speaking with PJ Campbell last night. We were over on the Really Trivia Showdown guys channel. Who are they? And they was just saying, you're in the moment. Like what? Like it's benefit of the doubt. It's John. You gave the perfect example for why both options would be in somebody's head and acceptable. Both like Muppets in, Muppets from. It goes back and forth, and it's just one of those things where it's in the game. We either ask for perfection or we,
if I said if the answer was Wizard of Oz, I said the Wizard in Oz. Would they accept it?
No.
And why did they accept Muppets
exactly
in space?
That's the right. It's
tough, man. If I were them, I would have paused. Time out. But I guess I don't know, free for all. I guess it's a train that you can't stop until it stops. So
especially Jen was like, it's actually
So
and that was the other thing. Is at least when I was watching it, there appeared to be like some sort of shenanigans as well, just with either like the time lapse or something where like there's a little bit of a jump when I was watching it.
Jumped a little bit. I believe they discussed it, and the benefit of the doubt was applied. I believe it was benefit of the doubt.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, see, the way I watched it was different from you guys. So that's
right.
all I'll say.
Right.
That's all I'll say.
Right. When you see the,
I'll have to go back
jump,
and watch that.
Yeah. Watch the VOD. It's a bit less, but when you know what you know, when and what happens. So I think it's fair, but it's fair, and I think that when it comes to the free for all, it's not like. Unfortunately, we weren't doing a show for the last 3, so I can say I wasn't watching the last 3 singles free for alls with the same lenses that I watched this one, because now we're doing this show where of course we're going to take it and dial it down to all the little bits. But it just seemed that the conversation can be had, unfortunately, that if that doesn't happen, Bibbs can make a case for MVP, and then that's the Quirky Mercs over the dungeon getting some stuff, and it's a conversation that could be had. So
what did PJ say about it?
PJ just gave it was the benefit of the doubt. It was in the moment. It's you're rolling like that, and it was just benefit of the doubt because the rules are the rules, right? Because it's the same thing as round 4. I think the rules of the free for all are the same as in round 4 of a championship match, where if there's no challenges in the speed round and there's no repeats, right? So it's the same rules, and you got to take that and just put it for 3 hours of time for those rules instead of the 30 seconds or the minute. So I think that's fair, and it's hard, right? Because like we said, you're 3 hours in, right? So
yeah. Another moment to think about too is there could have been Oyama could have cleared out the board if Kimberly Taylor Foster only got that they worked at the airport, because I was like, they work at the airport.
They work at the airport, right? So
and then you see Oyama gets it, everyone else not getting it, and I was like, is Kimberly gonna get it and Oyama's gonna clear the, and I was like, Kimberly, no.
I knew the answer to that one too. That's what's so frustrating when you go out early and you're watching these great players miss these questions that you're like, oh, if I was in here I could have been. It's so frustrating as somebody who competes. It's just so frustrating.
Well, we've spoken on the MVP, but let's speak on the winner. Boggs, I'm going to throw this over to you. Sol, I'm coming to you last, all right? I know you have a lot to say, and I know that it's all been bottling up for over a day now. So I'm going to start with Boggs. Polo Oyama really was the singles player of old. He really turned on that 2 years ago swag and rode it all the way to the end.
He's on fire at the minute. So including his singles match, his teams match, obviously Lon didn't have a great game. He discussed it on the show when he was on it a couple of weeks ago, especially in the first round. But he played great. Paul did, and this free for all as well. He kind of stood up to Ben. In effect, that's the way I saw it. Went with him toe to toe up until the last Snowpiercer question, and the rightful man won it. He won fair and square, and he played great. Some big points for him. And I want to know, JT, as well, what are your thoughts on just random questions? Sorry, what are your thoughts on Snyder and how he played? Because he lasted a few rounds as well, and also Roker's dig at Bateman as well. I just thought about his parents were they on a date in 1973 or something? Was that on one of the questions? I don't
remember that. I honestly don't even remember that part. Jeff he's a strong player. I mean, playing with him, I expect everybody to do well who are veterans in this league to go in there and show up. And again, I know, like I said earlier, it's the luck of the draw. I think I got romance films and another category where I was like, oh, those are two of my weak categories. And those were the two questions I got wrong. But yeah, even, me and Jeff were a really good team because we had strengths that were similar, but we also had weaknesses that were different. So something that I would be weak and he'd be strong. And like watching him play, there were times where I was like, if we were playing together, I would have pulled this for us.
Oh, yeah.
But the same thing goes for him. Like he would have sometimes there's times when it comes to like directing sometimes or like writers, Sundance, like, there's festival darlings, like he's so strong in that category because he went to them. He probably went to that festival when that screening was showing. I never did that. So he just has certain strengths that really work well. But I am excited, for this team tournament to come up. And working with Roca behind the scenes, it's been really fun, and it's really interesting to see because some of the weaknesses that me and Jeff shared, Roca is a strength, and I'm really excited to like get in the ring with him and see how it works out when we play.
To piggyback off of that, like what has that been like for you as a shift? Because I know we spoke earlier on, these factions weren't here 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
You, for lack of a better word, hated the Outlaw 4 years ago. If that guy came up to you in the Schmoedown, you would have not have had nice words with him. So I'd ask, like, what has Little Evil been doing to kind of compartmentalize all that stuff?
It was nothing personal. For me, if I'm playing against you, that's why I hate you. Because I want to beat you. I want to destroy whoever's across. I don't care who it is. Like, you are my enemy. I'm going to defeat you. So back then, he was, we had that trilogy. We had the Patriots top 10, and it got heated. I will say, playing with Roca, he brings so much passion and, sometimes anger. Like, he gets fired up. And if you watch my match with the Patriots, I was pretty cool and confident most of the time, real chill. I didn't really get emotional until I won the match, and then I would be like, yeah. So it's interesting to like work with him, getting ready for this tournament and being like, all right, he's bringing his, usual fire. I'm here to cool it off a little bit, and we're going to run nice and smooth.
And I think that's fair. It just seems like you were more comparable to, I guess, like if you look at the Patriots, the top 10, I would say Jeff and Roca, obviously more of the showman, and you and Matt definitely there to cool them down a little bit. So it's cool to see that you're going to take that role on a different team. And I had this thought earlier in my head, man, kind of like Antonio Brown floating around. Now you're over here with Tom Brady, right? You got a new opportunity, new lease on life, and you can take this moment to take it to a championship.
Wait, who's Tom Brady in this scenario?
I would think Roca's kind of Tom Brady because it's been a minute since.
Okay. Disrespectful. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen,
it is his channel. I think he could be Tom Brady on his.
Listen,
channel.
He won a singles championship. I've never done that, so I give him all the credit.
I was going to say JTE is the Patriots fan, though.
Yeah, but you know what? It's just been great working with him, and like honestly, when we decided to team up, I was like, is this going to work a little bit? I'm confident in him as a player. It was more about how's the chemistry going to be. And about once we started studying together with our faction, I was like, oh man, it doesn't really matter because we have such great skills that kind of complement each other that I think we're going to be someone you don't want to meet in this tournament. I just can't wait for the tournament to start. I just wanted to go.
Speaking of the Patriots, Jeff was just like, wait, JTE gets to keep that music in the moment. So are you two going to play each other for the keeper of the
I don't know. I haven't, is Jeff even playing singles this year? I don't know. Like, I don't know what his status is. I mean, listen, he's the champion team. So my plan is to eventually see him in the ring in a team match because I made it pretty clear when I came back this year, my goal is to get those tag team titles. Singles, I'm still going to play in singles. I don't know what his plans are in singles. Like, he did really well last year. Maybe he's just going to concentrate on teams this year. I know
he played that number one contenders match with Merle, which he walked out of the interview after getting very upset. So maybe that was him being like, maybe
he's out for a little bit. Yeah. Which, I totally understand. It's hard. It's hard to, I had that 1 year where I went all the way through the singles tournament and played Sam.
One of my favorite runs. Oh my God. One of my favorite runs.
It was a great run. And to do that and be a team champion is not easy. It's a lot. I had to play. I can't remember what was it. One of the spectaculars where I had to play 2 matches.
You did. You had to play a singles match and then 2 matches later.
That is draining. Like you're done with the first one, whether you win or lose. You're like, oh my god. Most people don't have to play in 2 matches, and when you do, and they're significant matches, it's tough, man. It's tough. So I totally understand when somebody who's like, I'm just gonna concentrate on singles. I'm just gonna concentrate on teams. I will say teams is that's what I'm laser focused on, but I'm not going to turn down any single matches. I'm ready to play anytime.
Got to play. The best ability is availability. John Barr, I'm going to throw this over to you, man. Polo Oyama has set the pace now for what you need to bring, right? The free-for-all winner carries this bit of kind of aura along with it, where in the past we've seen like Miss Movies came out at the end of one of the most dramatic free-for-alls ever, got the win there. That title shot had, very long-lasting implications. What do you see for this title shot for Paul? Where do you see this coming to play? Give me that, a little bit of foresight.
Yeah, I think this is gonna kind of be the cap on cementing the new version of Polo Oyama. Obviously had a super explosive rookie season, being able to come in and just kind of rocket through the ranks in order to get that singles belt off of Dan Murrell before losing it by the end of the year. And then the next year, even though he had one of my personal favorite matches generally, the one being against him and John Roca, I thought that was a phenomenal match, but he still just couldn't quite make it happen that year overall, whether in teams, whether in singles. More so with teams, he kept kind of getting closer to what we were talking about, just wasn't able to get over the cusp. But now it's like we just saw him come off of a super solid singles performance, doing really well in his team's match, even though he wasn't quite able to get over it with his partner Lon. This is maybe the kind of thing where he really just sets himself up where it's like that one season was not a fluke. No, I'm here to stay. I deserve to be here for quite a while. Quit looking at all of the new toys that we have in the game with all these rookies. Quit just talking about the same 3 legends. I'm still here, dang it.
Well, dang it indeed. And that's you just got to realize these players are not here to mess around anymore. We've raised like I said before, the floor and the ceiling of the way the character and the talent are pushing each other is raising the stakes constantly. All right, Soul. Here we go. You got the floor. Producer Sean, you can even give her solo shot.
No.
Swag, take your shot.
Did I not do enough things about saying nice things about Polo Oyama that we got to give Soul a whole camera?
I think Soul deserves the whole show. She deserves it.
Soul, that's true.
I love Polo Oyama. I love him as a player. I love him with Winston. I love him on Swag. He's just so good. The things that he does, the way he plays this game is just so smart. He's such a smart player. And the fact, too, that he was writing answers down and then just going damn, or be and you were oh, did he get it wrong? Or is he oh, I know this, Ben Bateman's also going to get that question. We're going another round. Because he kept saying at the very end, damn, just over and over again. And then he would get the answer right. And so I was just he was just how long can I go? And the fact that it is on a movie that Ben Bateman has not finished, has only seen the first half of, and a movie that Swag asks that question to every player that comes into their faction. That is phenomenal. That is great storytelling. And Christian didn't even plan that.
Question, did any of you guys know the answer?
I did not know.
Nice. I actually saw Snowpiercer a year before it came out in LA because they do test screenings in LA, and the movie had already been completed in Asia. And I think the studio was trying to see if it would have an American audience. So I saw the film, loved it, and they specifically asked us in a Q&A after the movie what we thought of the ending and the last shot. So I was damn, man. I was I know this one 100% because I freaking got asked this by the studio. And I think if you saw that movie at all, I think it's pretty memorable. That's the last shot of the movie.
Right.
So I was shocked that I thought they were both going to get it.
I've read it too. I think that's another thing.
Oh, you read the comic?
Yeah. If you've read it, it's a bit different too.
I knew it, but I didn't know it in time. So that's why I don't count it as having gotten it. Because I'm like, no, it took me too long.
Because it's such a weird last thing to see.
Right.
So it feels like kangaroo, maybe you would have remembered it more. But the fact that it was a polar bear, like immediately thought a Coca-Cola commercial. It was just okay.
For me, it was Lost. It stuck in my brain with Lost, and that was what did it for me. So unfortunately, JTE, we gotta let you go soon. So I'm gonna throw it over to Soul. She's got some rapid fire questions from Roka's Discord. We're gonna go through these truly rapid fire. Soul, what you got for the man?
Okay, we got Jeremy Miller going, what's your favorite match that you've ever been in?
That's tough. Holy cow. Probably when we first won the belts. The first time we win championship, nothing quite. It's great holding it for all those other times. That and going to sudden death with Drew McQueenie and realizing that he wrote Bill Paxton when I knew it was Kevin Bacon, it was so good.
And for that first one,
and I respect Drew so much. I've been reading him since the Ain't Cool News days. So anytime I got to play him, it was like an honor. Like, I can't believe I'm playing this guy. I've been reading your stuff since I was in high school. I think, I don't know, whenever Ain't Cool News when he was writing. So that was great. And a lot of pressure, but it was great.
That first one, you guys had to wait too, right? You guys had to wait a really long time to play the Schmoes, right? Because it was it was a transfer from Collider, from AfterBuzz and all that. There was so much drama around that match.
Me and Finstock were on a hot streak, and then they put us on the fridge and froze us out, man. All right, next one. Sorry, that was a long answer.
Next one. We got Malcolm here going, would you consider studying up on IG slices, given that competitors are putting them on the wheel, like Ben Goddard putting Harry Potter?
I would never compete in IG, but I'm definitely going to have to go back and I just rewatched all Lord of the Rings. So I'm definitely knowing that they're going to be on the wheel a little bit more. I'm trying. I'm going to have to watch all the Star Trek movies at some point. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not a big Star Trek fan, but I know I have to watch them all eventually. I don't even I watched Wrath of Khan not that long ago, and I don't get all the hype. I don't know.
I think you have to watch his TV series first to fully get it.
Probably. Good point. Yeah.
And Dan's probably going to put Star Trek on the wheel too. So if you ever play him in the future.
Well, that's why you got Roka,
right? Right. And then you have Justin T going, what movie that came out in the last year did you enjoy the most?
One Night in Miami. I loved One Night in Miami.
Yes.
That was probably my favorite movie of last year. Even though this year, I guess, because it came out in January. I was a huge fan of Soul.
Oscar fiscal year.
Yeah, exactly. Oscar fiscal year. I love Soul was up there for me. I loved Soul. I thought
the UK version of me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There's just, it made me feel great about life. I felt better about life after watching Soul. It was life affirming. And so yeah, I'll say Soul and One Night in Miami. I love both those movies.
Yeah, I love both of those as well. And they came out, I think, on the same day.
Yeah, I didn't see out here. I didn't see One Night in Miami until the first or second week of January. But I saw Soul the first day it was on Disney and was amazing.
Yeah. And then the last question here, we have Drunken Prayer going, what project that you've worked on are you most proud of?
What project? I guess Schmoes know. Yeah, we were a bunch of guys. When I came on, they were in Toad Hop, and it was just me as the intern. Ken's first ever job was hiring me as the intern. It was his first thing he ever did as part of Schmoes Know. Producer was meeting me at the farmer's market in LA and hiring me. And then from then, the host was Ellis, Christian, and Katie Sackhoff was a host, I believe, when I started. Mm-hmm. And that was it. Makuga wasn't there yet. Riley wasn't there yet. Tom hadn't been introduced to us yet. So to go from just those 4 or 5 people, and now, they're like a second family to me. And it's just, I think about, some of the best times of my life. I think about film school, being around all these other kids who love film and making movies on the weekends. And I think about Schmoes Know, a bunch of people getting together once a week just to talk movies and do this crazy show. It was amazing. So yeah, Schmoes Know by far. I'm into Schmoedown. What can I say?
Started everything.
I love this. Any more questions? Any more?
We got one. We got one last here with Streamlabs goes from Justin Toner. I wanted to hear JTE's thoughts on the upcoming director's cut of Rocky IV from Sly. It's been interesting watching Stallone's Instagram videos showing the process of choosing what stays and what goes. Also, what Rocky movies are your favorites?
Keep the robot.
I understand. I think Creed 2 is very good. Great. It's a really good film. It's not as good as the first Creed film, but it's a really good movie. And I think Drago's scene with his son with the towel at the end was a stroke of genius. I think making that movie, he wanted to go back and make it a little bit more serious. So I think you're going to lose a lot of that 80s cheese, which what makes Rocky IV great. So I love Rocky IV. It is the most 80s movie ever. But I think he's going in with a mind of, if you're going to watch Rocky IV and Creed 2 back to back, I think it's this director's cut is going to fit more in with that tone. I think it's going to be a little bit darker, a little bit more serious, and I think it's just going to complement that film better. But listen, I'll always have my original Rocky IV with the robot that I could just go in and watch and see, the dude's punching with the power of a car getting hit by a car. So I'm really curious about it. It's so long. To me, it's just a great it's not like the Snyder cut a little bit. It's a cool exercise and a director going back to his material and doing something completely different once it's been, taken out of your hands. Not that it was taken out of Stallone's hands, but to see the films that he makes now, like last films he directed were like The Expendables. I'm just curious to see what he brings to it and what sensibility he brings to it. But again, I love Rocky IV. I think what's my favorite Rocky movie? Rocky IV is the one I watched the most as a kid. I mean, no doubt about it. 3 and 4, those are the ones I was running over and over and over. It wasn't until I got older and became, a little bit more sophisticated in my film taste, I was like, oh no, the first Rocky is by far the best film. Hands down, it's not even close. It's, Best Picture winner. It's amazing. It's original. Because Rocky 1 and Rocky 4 are night and day. Honestly, I mean, it's night and day. The way they are presented, the way they're edited, the way they're shot. It's each movie. Those first 2 movies are so cemented in the 70s. Those next 2 movies are so cemented in the 80s. And then that part 5 is in that weird 1990 year where they didn't know what to do. And I think that's why it's the worst, because he should have waited to do Rocky 5 to like 95. Give it, let the 90s kind of go in a little bit more. So, exactly, because it's a weird movie. It feels like an 80s movie transitioning into the 90s, and it doesn't really do either great. Then Rocky Balboa is fantastic. I think it's a great callback to the first film. So I love the whole franchise. One of the greatest franchises ever. I mean, to see one character to go from 1976, Rocky Balboa, all the way up to Creed 2, and to get nominated for Creed for the same role, amazing.
Yep. Well, sir, we got to ask. We got one person in the StreamYard to come in and ask a question. You got time for one more?
Yeah. Shoot.
Awesome. Well, Aaron, come on down, sir, and ask Little Evil what's on your mind.
What up?
See, I had to wear a good suit for Little Evil here.
Well, Superman is awesome too. I like the Superman shirt more than the suit.
Well, you know what? We can just go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Nice. What's up, man?
What's up, Aaron?
Hey, man, I'm so glad I got to meet you. I think you're fantastic. I hated you in season 4 and season 5, but I love seeing you guys kick ass at you. How were you the underdogs every match and you still won? I just want to get that out of the way. I'm never gonna do this again. Anyway, so my question for you today, man, is you had to pick one. Either if Christian said we're gonna do this next week, it's your choice. You and Jeff Snyder, or Rushmore versus Odd Couple. Who are you gonna go with?
One-on-one match between Snyder?
Yeah, one-on-one, or you and Roca versus Andraco and Snyder.
I would take on the Odd Couple. I already played Jeff before and I beat him. I think people seem to forget that. I have beat him one-on-one. So yeah, give me the Odd Couple because I want those belts. So that's, like I said, that's my number one focus. Laser focus. I want those belts. So, and I think me and Roca, we could beat the Odd Couple for sure. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Jeez, according to that match, yeah.
I agree with Jeremy Miller down there.
Yeah, Aaron's passion
is great for the Outlaw Nation.
You have good energy, man. Good energy.
I love that you have a physical Blu-ray collection. I'm all about physical media, man.
I hate DVDs. Blu-ray's the only way. And now 4K is going to come up, so I gotta sell my child just to get my satisfaction on. But thank you guys very much for having me on again.
Thanks, Aaron. We appreciate you, buddy. Have a good night.
Good luck for the rest of the season, JT.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Well, JTE, buddy, before we let you go, we've been giving competitors a chance to cut promos, to let the world know why you ain't no one to be messing with in the Schmoedown world. So please, sir, take it away. Talk your smack.
Cut a promo. I'm gonna let my actions. Speak for me here. I ain't got much to say except for that I'm looking forward to this team tournament. Singles, I'll take on whoever wants to take me. I'm not scared of anybody. I've beaten some of the best players in this league. But me and Roka are laser focused to get these titles, and I cannot wait. Sit back, keep doubting us, just like Aaron said. I'm always underdog somehow. You know what? My favorite movie is Rocky. Keep calling him the underdog. Guess what? Rocky 4. He was the underdog. Guess what happened? He cut the Russian. He won. He turned over to the whole Russia. They're yelling Rocky by the end of the movie. By the end of this season, you'll be chanting JTE because I'm going to win it all.
Just like Rocky, who fixed the entire Cold War, JTE turning America into JT me. Absolutely, yes, by the end of it. So, sir, take the moment, plug anything you got, tell the folks where they can find you.
Just follow me on Twitter right now, JTE Movie Things. That's about it, man. Tweeting about movies 90% of the time. Some Patriots if they're playing. It's off season. Celtics are about to hit the playoffs, so there'll be some basketball in there too.
How did you lose to the Hornets today? But we can talk about that another time.
Listen, it's been an up and down season.
It's weird. Hey,
Miami Heat.
Yeah, Miami's looking good. I mean, the Celtics have no bench right now, and I think that's hurting them.
Yeah, it was Williams. I mean, he was hurt too, but he was coming into some stuff. Man, it's been fantastic talking to you. Again, checking a list of the greats off the interview docket. JTE, Little Evil, it's been a pleasure, sir. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, bud. Talk to you later. Woo. Folks, we've gotten to that point of the match. This is a big old match.
Oh. Who's winning?
News to me.
I think JTE won.
It's not me, for sure.
No, JTE won. Easy. We got to break down the upcoming schedule for the movie trivia Schmoedown this week. We got Robert Parker versus...
Wait, we got to do the standings.
Well, we got to do the standings. Sorry, we got to bring producer Sean in, and we got to do the standings. Sorry, guys. I'm excited to talk about Schmoedown. Hi. So current standings. Soul,
I got it. Yep.
Soul is... I don't know why Soul is so adamant that she specifically do this to me, but fine, dude. If you want to be the one to just drag my name through the friggin' mud, go for it.
I love you, John.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what are the standings? Yourself, so.
And John
You've done that yourself.
Last place with 15 points.
Oh.
I'm not that far ahead. I'm in second to last with 18. Colin, 1 point ahead of me, 19. I'm going to get you this week. I'm going to be over you.
Prime number, baby.
And then Sean with 21 points. Bog's still in the leads with 24. Can we break his lead? Come on, guys. We need to go for Bog.
I went perfect this week. I went bang, bang, bang for the singles matches. Come on, y'all. Like, I'm doing my best to catch up to Boggs. I'm trying. I'm chipping away. At this lead, Boggs. Chipping away. Well, folks, let's get into match number 1. IG. It's going to be Brandon Hanna of the Stars going up against the Dungeons. Robert Parker going to throw it over to my fellow, also bearded person, John Barr.
Oh. You know, this one, I kind of went back and forth a little bit on, but I do think I'm going to give the edge to Robert Parker. Dungeon right now is looking real dangerous. We haven't gotten to see fully what Robert Parker can do. Brandon Hanna, I don't want to call him a slouch, but I think if we see a super polished Robert Parker, that could be it. So I'll go Robert Parker.
Throw it over to Boggs.
So yeah, I think Parker is the favorite with this being rated highly. But you know what? I'm going to go underdog. I'm going to go Hanna. Why not? Because, you know, he had a bit of a rough match against Zipper. Obviously, come from behind win. I just think he's got a point to prove. And, you know, why not? You got to pick an underdog sometimes. And I think Hanna's going to pull out.
Spider-Man all day. Give it to me. Robert Parker. Sean, who you got?
Yeah, I think Parker's coming in hungry this season, especially how his last season ended. He's coming in hungry, so I'm going to go Parker.
Just got to talk about the beard, right? I can't root against that beard. I mean, he just like grew that. Like he snapped his finger and that thing came out of nowhere. Soul, who you got?
I think that Robert Parker is hungry. He didn't do so hot last year. So I think He's going to come in feeling like the underdog, and so he's going to win.
We just set up Boggs for the biggest table flip. Like, Boggs would be like, I told you Brandon Hanna was it.
It's just sometimes you got to go underdog, innit? Because we saw how many upsets did we see last season? It's going to happen sometimes.
Believe me, I've got an underdog pick for my picks this week. Don't you worry, buddy.
Yeah.
Thursday, the teams tournament begins, folks. It is tournament season. March Madness might be over, but April is set to bring on some more madness of its own. Sean, I'm going to throw over to you. Is Lightning Time goes up against the Outsiders.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting that Janine would be, Liz and Ethan would be teamed up together. I mean, that's kind of how she got brought into the league. So, I mean, it'd be hard to pick against Ethan and Liz. So I'm not going to. Lightning Time.
Saul, I'll throw it over to you because this is interesting. We got Paul and Ben, a reorganization of the den in terms of what the teams were looking like. Do they have a shot?
I think, too, I just don't believe in Goddard that much. And he had an IG slice in this last thing. So I'm going Lightning Time.
Lightning Time, taking 2 so far. John Barr.
This is where I go with my underdog pick. I'm going with the Outsiders. Ethan Irwin has a history of struggling a little bit when it comes to teams, even when he's got some good people in his corner. I feel like we just saw Ben Goddard pitch a really good game. We saw Paul Preston just pitch a very impressive game. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be the moment. I don't have the Outsiders winning the whole thing, but I do have him taking this match and the upset.
Sometimes you got to pick it, and sometimes the upsets disrupt everything. Boggs, does that disrupt your bracket?
So I am going to agree with John on this one. I think that Ethan Owen has had a bit of a rough time in teams with Guy, right? And just some of the teams before that.
Yeah,
and Liz is she had a bit of a rough time against Roka. I think Ben played good, although he lost, and Paul Preston played good in his last match. So I'm going to go with Form, and I'm going to go with what are they called? Sorry, the Outsiders. Yeah,
Great
the Outsiders.
We've all read it in 4 different grades in American English classes. I'm taking the Outsiders as well. I think Paul's energy is infectious, and it's what Ben needs. There was a lack of chemistry, and this is nothing on either of them individually, but when you saw what Ben was doing last year, he just didn't have that. In terms of support, there was just disconnect in the den. I think Paul can bring some organization to the team, to the whole faction, and really become the face of the den by the end of the year. And I think we're talking about Paul Preston as one of the favorites.
And Paul had a bit of an eye of the tiger about him.
He did. He scared the hell out of him.
When he was last, he had a bit of a bite about him, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's got points to prove.
He also was one of the top 5 finishers in the free-for-all, going into 6 rounds total, surviving 1 sudden death, and getting 18 total points approximately.
See, like that's like he's ready, he's hungry, and table that with Ben's round 1 and round 2 performance in his singles match.
How did Owen do? Because I know he lasted a few rounds.
Ethan Irwin, I have him right underneath Paul Preston. He went into 4 rounds total with approximately 18 points on the board. So roughly the same number of points, but fewer rounds.
I would agree with you guys about Paul. Like I think he is coming in hungry. I just think he going up against Ethan and Liz is just
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Bad matchup.
Yeah,
so
against Earth, Wind, and Fire.
If he was going up against anybody else, I probably would pick Paul. But Ethan and Liz, I think
you just got to see
team.
it, right? Because I believe in Paul. It feels like corruption.
I believe in Paul.
Like I said, I
don't believe in Ben Goddard.
Yep, me too. Me too.
Totally fair take. So let's move on. We got 2 matches on Friday, possibly 3. We'll throw into the curveball thrown at us by the president today. But first off, on Friday, we got Rushmore going up against the Press Room. That's JTE on this show earlier, as you saw it, with John Roca of the Finstock Exchange going up against Perry Nemiroff and Josh Horowitz of the Quirky Mercs. I'm going to throw this over to Sean Barrows.
I mean, don't sleep on Perry. I'll just say don't sleep on Perry because we see what Perry could do last year, so she's not to be messed with. But I just think JTE, like he was just saying on the show, he's got a laser focus on getting those team titles. and we all know John Roca's studying really hard as well. So I just think there's that combination that can't be beat right now. So I'm just gonna pick Rushmore.
Yeah, like I said before, I got a feeling of this is like Tom Brady getting the receiver he's always needed, and I'm taking Rushmore. Boggs, who you got?
TKO win for Rushmore.
Holy shit!
I am interested in Josh Horowitz though. I've watched, he's been around for so many years, just doing interviews and stuff. So I want to see what he's got. But yeah, I say TKO win for Rushmore.
Soul.
You know what? I'm gonna go get on this Boggs train. I'm gonna go TKO for Rushmore as well.
Okay.
Got to spice it up,
John,
right?
you don't get any extra points for calling the TKO, but
no. Listen, I'm not gonna call anything too spicy because we haven't seen Josh Horowitz play before. It's very possible he's gonna come in swinging the same way that Jacoby and Jacob just did. So I don't want to necessarily say anything too ridiculous right now. But when you're going up against John Roca and JTE, who are not only legends but have already proven in the times that they've shown up this season that they're lethal. This is an instance where I'm like, I got to go with the age and the experience on this one. So I'm going Rushmore.
So that is a clean sweep. All 5 of us picking Rushmore, bringing us down to the news of the day. Unfortunately, there has been a scheduling issue where Odd Couple will not be available to defend the belts on Friday, pushing that match forward into May. So we are currently looking for a 4th match that would be the undercard of the pay-per-view on Friday, pushing us to pick the main event now being Alex Damon versus Mike Kalinowski in a number 1 IG contenders match. This is fire. I didn't really need the teams match. This was the match that I wanted to watch, and now I'm happy this is the main event because an IG main event makes Colin a happy, happy boy. Boggs, who are you picking?
I was the opposite, I was more interested in the teams match. I'm
That's what makes us the best.
See that. Yeah, that was super looking forward to that. But I'm going to go with Mike, yeah. So, KO'd him last time, not even a TKO, KO'd him. He didn't even finish it, asking his round 2 questions. I think he got KO'd on the 5th question, I think. So, it was a bit brutal last time. Kind of hard to pick Alex. I can't see him winning unless he spins Star Wars, to be honest. I know I've said that before, but I'm going Kalinowski.
Sean, who you got?
I kind of have to feel the same way as Boggs, unless Damon gets a lot of Star Wars questions. I can't see him being someone like Mike, so I'm gonna pick Kalinowski.
John Barr.
Yeah, I'm also gonna pick Kalinowski. Alex Damon had a solid Inner Geekdom match against the Barbarian to get here, but again, he did spin Star Wars. And Kalinowski, sometimes he's pretty hit, sometimes he's pretty miss, but we are talking about a former multiple belted Inner Geekdom champion here. Again, I'm going with the experience in this specific division. I'm going Kalinowski.
Soul?
I betted against him last time for the same reasons that you guys are using this time, and I lost it. So I'm gonna go a little rogue here. I'm going Alex Damon.
Well, Rogue
Looks
1
like we've got
call me Rogue 2, and I am also going with Alex Damon. I will ride this horse until it no longer has any energy left to give. I will ride Alex to the IG belt all the way into the sunset. So that will do it. Look to the TUSA Twitter account for our picks for whatever match gets announced, and we'll drop those just so we can, keep us honest and we can keep our picks whenever that match gets announced. And be on the lookout for that. So with that, we bid adieu to producer Sean. Thank you so much. And with that, we wrap up with this little conversation. We missed it in our conversation. We had to cut it short with JTE. So I'm going to throw this round table. I'm going to start with Soul. Which free-for-all has been your favorite so far? We've had 4 of them.
That's so hard. Why'd you go to me first? Come on.
These are my favorite.
I love all of them. Have to go probably just seeing Bibbs go from number 1 all the way to the end to sudden deaths. Still standing. I'm going to have to go with that free-for-all.
Because I'm still standing. Boggs, how about you?
I'll probably say Yeah, I'll say the same. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite, to be honest. But if it was that one, I mean, that's got because that was a live event, right? So that was a big standout one. The studio ones were cool as well. Great. Obviously, this one was excellent. But yeah, I'd say the live one because they used to walk in the entrances, the crowd, and JT with that slow motion, what they use on every promo. That was cool. So yeah,
Greg Alba peed on stage.
yeah,
that's it.
That kind of stuff.
John Barr.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said for like the first kind of the big events that like when you're actually caught up and you're able to watch it live and you know fully everything that's going on kind of going into it. And so for me, that is Free for All number 3, where it's again looking at like Brendan Meyer, not knowing much about him going into it, and then him coming out with such a knockout performance, similar to what Jacob Blunden did, but I guess more similar to Griffey Nooms actually. Just being able to last as long as he did. Bibiani going all the way from number 1 to number 5. Also having a clear the moment table, if I'm not mistaken, at that kind of like halfway point. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, but what I'm not wrong about is that subjectively, personally, Free for All number 3 was my favorite.
For me, it's watching Miss Movies walk away with it. And for the implications that carried over into the Schmoedown story, where it really put everyone involved on their toes and was like, well, what are we doing here? And it just kind of put the world on notice. And that was one of the moments where, the trivia comes first and everything else comes after. And that's one of the reasons I love this game is moments like that, where it's like we could have seen a sequel of that with Jen Kemp going all the way yesterday. We could have seen it, and it would have been the same thing, and we would have had to been the same reaction of like, how did she do it? Well, she came in at the right time, and that would have been the argument. So, folks, we did it. We took 3 great Schmoedown matches. We took a fantastic 3-hour, almost 4-hour free-for-all stream. We bottled that all down into a 2-hour stream just for you to
This is one of our shortest shows.
We loved it. This is it. This is what we like to do. We like to break it down so you know exactly what you need to get you into next week. And we can't wait to find out how soon Boggs is going to lose that title of being right all the time. So I'm going to throw it around the horn. And folks, let everybody know where they can find you. Soul?
You can find me at Saul Govin. And then also, right now, there's a special election in Florida, so I'm voting. So make sure to also check your special elections and just vote.
Yes. Boggs?
That was really random, actually. A random plug.
Yeah. Go vote. Go vote.
Sure.
It's an important one, yeah.
There's a voting here as well, actually, like a local election. So that was really weird. But yeah, it's tune in next week. Obviously, thanks everyone for liking the video and commenting on previous episodes and stuff like that. I mean, check us out on the Pop Culture Universe. We've got our Falcon and Winter Soldier finale season review dropping, and we've got a Shang-Chi trailer reaction as well. That's pretty cool. But yeah, see you all next week.
Pretty cool. That trailer slapped. John Barr? What's up?
Yeah, you can find me at John Barr Tweets on Twitter and Instagram. Go look up Tournament of Nerds on YouTube or Twitch. You can see me there. I'm in an episode. I play Luigi. I had a grand old time with some folks you might recognize. And also vote. I'll co-sign voting. Yeah,
always co-sign voting.
Sure.
We always co-sign voting here. You can find me where it says below at @the_C Morris. Come on, y'all. You already know. Schmoedown is picking up. We are in the heat of it. The free-for-all is over. The season has officially begun. The stage has been set. We'll see what's up. But that'll do it for this edition of the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow. For Colin, Boggs, Soul, John, that's us, the crew. Thank you, JTE, for hanging out with us later. We'll see you next time. Or earlier. Later? Earlier?
Oh, boy.
It's time.
We're back to Saturday next week.
This counts as
yeah,
our
Saturday
show
too.
bit, Sean. So just cut us off at some point during this, and that'll just kind of be the
yes,
ending.
yes.